Back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carey, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, we are back. I'm glad to be back. It is the Unofficial 40 podcast right here with the entire gang. Josh McQuistion, Eddie Radosevich, and George Stoya. And good to be back, fellas. I've been, my God, I'd say it was the worst. I said it was the worst sick I've been since Baker Mayfield got concussed against TCU. I missed that game because I had bronchitis. But it was, George has had a little bit of flu. I mean, we've all been sick, but yeah, it took me down. I've been tiptoeing in and out of the office a little bit, but today, first full day back. Glad to be back, boys. How we doing?
Ain't nobody got time for bronchitis.
I slept through I slept through the first 2.5 quarters of the Super Bowl. I started watching. It was 12-0, which was probably pretty good planning. I slept through Jared giving birth to his third child, which was not fun to wake up to and realize you missed. And then I slept through the DeMarco Murray stuff last night because my schedule has just been screwed.
It's just now screwed?
Huh. I was about to say, this is not a new thing that happens when you're just sick.
We're good to have you back.
That's morning radio to blame, you know.
Do the same hours.
You have your days. I have my days.
There's a lot fewer days for.
I don't know. I'm not going to be ganged up on my first day back. God damn it!
Welcome back.
We'll
Carey.
start keeping track.
I'm not being ganged up on my first day back.
We should keep track on.
My God, who just got you new luxury chairs in your office in the conference room?
No one asked for them.
Oh, do you want me to take them back? Do you want me to take them back?
I mean. Can we?
Can you show a little appreciation? I built you a GD coffee barn. I got luxury chairs for you in the conference room, so you can.
If we're keeping track, Josh, also something nobody asked for. But we are appreciative.
You haven't used any of it at all.
I have used it.
They're great.
I have used it. It's great.
My God, I mean, I try and do nice things, Josh, for them, but they just don't. They're just assholes. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop doing nice things.
You won't. It's in your nature.
I'm just gonna save all the money for myself.
We
now.
tread lightly.
Fine. What do you guys want to talk about?
Love
because
that
I've
chairs
been
were the chairs a surprise for the guys? Like, I feel like you were keeping that a little hush. Like, am I wrong about that?
George likes to complain about things.
When have I complained?
You complained about the chairs.
Maybe one time I was like, "Oh yeah, this chair kind of sucks," but it wasn't like "Oh, please go buy a $2,000 chair that reclines."
And I bought these stupid chairs, and I thought that they had like reclining things that came out, and they suck. They're just cheap ass things, and they don't really work. You can't really stretch your legs out on them. And I get that. You live and you learn, all right?
We had this discussion, Carey. I vividly remember you talking about getting us new chairs, and I was like, well, I don't think it'd be worth it for the type of chair that you're talking about. And I was like, don't buy that. We can spend the money somewhere else. And you still bought them.
It's my money.
I know, but I
can do with it what I please.
You can, and I the new chairs are awesome.
And I happen to do things nice for you guys. And I get no appreciation.
Oh, it's very appreciated.
It doesn't seem like it.
It's the thought that counts.
I missed that
Are we
part.
saying these were bought privately? These weren't Sooner Scoop funds used on these chairs?
No, they weren't.
Oh, well then shit. Carey, you do what you want to do, man. That's your show.
They are very nice chairs. Very comfortable chairs.
They're nice.
Coffee bar was also private funds.
Wow. That's...
We have a lot of money in the bank right now, Josh. I mean, I'll show you. You can go check.
I can.
It is not flat of funds. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
There's 5 numbers in there.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Not 6, but 5. We're working back to 6 after the studio.
Studio. How's that going?
You want to update on the studio?
Let's update that.
You mean
got a new coffee
it's not
bar,
all coffee
new
bars
chairs?
and luxury chairs? No, the studio I've mapped out. I'm mapping out the network right now.
What if What if we put a deadline? Can we put a deadline?
Yeah.
Start a spring ball.
Oh, way before start of spring ball.
Well,
Carey, spring ball is
It's the 25th.
Well-
March 25th. That's a month and a half almost.
I think
is
well,
it
but,
the 25th? Is that what it is?
But let's that's the first technical practice. There's some sort of mini camp before that, before spring break. I think we need to say before spring break because I think we're going to have a media day where we get to meet all the new guys.
Well, that's the 16th through the 25th.
A month.
What about when they
1 month
when they welcome in Adrian Peterson, as I'm told through the message boards,
is the
to
new
the running
coach?
back room? Yeah,
How about we say 1 month? How about we say March 12th?
we need a.
I'll
ticker.
meet that goal.
That is a week
All right,
after my birthday.
Here's
I'm
the thing.
putting that
Here's
down,
the thing.
March 12th.
We can set the goal of March 12th. Eddie cannot say shit if he can't get on the network one day between now and March 12th.
I promise you that. With the way the basketball's going right now, I don't know if we'll need to go
That's what
onto
I
the
said.
server anytime soon. So I think we should be good.
Yeah, we don't even know. Eddie's
I
got to go
say
to
that though, hottest team in the SEC, OU men's basketball. They
Yeah.
won a game. They haven't lost. I
Certainly
guess is
Florida's
what
got
I'm
a
aiming
good streak
for.
going, don't they? Have they?
Well, they lost, but yeah, I mean they've won like 9 of 10, something like that. 8 of 10.
But that's not better than 1 of 1.
They're 1-1. Yeah, like
That's 100%.
that's
I'll be honest.
absolutely correct,
That
Josh.
that was right before I mean I knew I was getting sick while that game was going on. But we were all
and it wasn't
pins and
because
needles.
of how they were playing in the last 4 minutes of the game. Your sickness
Oh my
had
God.
nothing to do with them shitting
Oh
all
my
over
God.
themselves.
I mean, I'm with George. I think an investigation should be launched.
I told my dad, like, I don't think, and I would have had to say this if they would have lost that game. I don't think that Porter Moser should have been allowed to be the head coach anymore. If you lose a game that you're up 19 with 3:20
I think
left, or
all
3:50.
university transportation should have been, no longer afforded them.
Oh, they
Like,
take
just
the car
stuck
back.
in Nashville. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
Not the Uber back.
You're talking about the airplane.
Yeah.
That would be taking a page out of Tad Boyle's press conference from Wednesday night when he basically said, I think they went and got beat by like 34. They scored 44 points against Tech on Wednesday night, and he basically came into the press conference and was like, I know that we have a chartered plane. I don't think we deserve it. I think we should have to wake our ass up and go catch the 6 o'clock flight out of Denver International. He was pissed off last night.
I think.
Him and Jerome Tang both. Like, you think OU's situation's bad?
Oh man, Kansas State.
The situation in Manhattan is just
Not
it's,
good.
And
It's
that's
as ugly as I can ever remember. Like
that's-
a Power 4
Why don't they
conference
just? I mean,
major.
at this point, like, if you're K-State, just fire him now. Like, just cut it.
They can't.
Oh, because
I don't
his contract's like
His
ridiculous.
buyout's $18 million. It'd be the largest buyout in the
He was
history
like
of college
one of the
basketball.
hottest
So he's
names
gonna
when
be
they
back.
hired him.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's why he
a
said none of his
disaster.
team is going to come back next year. He's throwing them under the bus.
But that was the first time after I was telling George, like, this has been building for a month.
Yeah.
The way that Kansas State has now lost 3 consecutive games by 24 plus, first time in school history, or first time in Big 12 history for the program. It's bad. It's bad.
I mean, Cincinnati wasn't any good coming in. They won by,
Cincinnati-
34?
Cincinnati's trying to fire Wes Miller.
Yeah, if you didn't hear, Jerome Tang basically came out in his post game and basically said, "I'm fed up with this. These players
But this
suck."
is
That's one thing.
after-
That's
this
one thing.
is-
Porter, like, and I'm team fire Porter.
Yeah.
Porter
He would never
do
do that. No,
No,
never
he
did.
had the
Never.
opportunity to do it after the, what was it, the Alabama game? He had a chance, or the Arkansas game? Which game was I not at? Arkansas. I was not at the Arkansas. It was after the Alabama game. He had every opportunity to throw his team under the bus. Didn't do it. And I do think that, like, they're at least competing. They're playing hard. You don't go to Nashville and win if you're not doing those things. It's just not good enough. We can get into all that. There's other pressing matters. Oklahoma's looking for a running backs coach. You also have LaMar Morgan, the cornerbacks coach, coming in from Michigan. So I don't care which way you guys want to go, but certainly some interesting things to get into on the football side of things.
I think we start with DeMarco. I mean, obviously, emotions play on both sides. I mean, I think we all, at the end of the season, let's just go back there. I mean, we were all of the same mind, I think. Like, Joe John has to go. And if you want to take DeMarco or Emmett Jones, they haven't lived up to the production that you would expect out of their positions, at least recruiting from high school guys. Now, I mean, DeMarco Murray still, you realize his leading rusher at Oklahoma is still Eric Gray, a transfer?
I don't think he had. I was looking at this the other day. I don't think he had a single high school running back that he recruited rush for 1,000 yards in a season.
A lot of this conversation is going to sound, I think, to a lot of people, and I've been kind of checking to see like how the Kansas City Chiefs fans are taking the news. It's going to seem like we're shitting on DeMarco a lot. I feel
and
like.
we kind of are.
But we're not shitting on him as really as a coach, but as someone that just didn't reach guys. And we've seen several examples. I mean, the latest being Jay Knott. I mean,
yeah.
And that's part of development is getting guys to not hate your guts to where they'll go out and actually try for you and try and get better and learn how to, learn pass protection. I mean,
maybe it's most simply said, Carey, that he was just never a guy that I envisioned that was going to be able to transform the way that he coaches into kind of what modern day college football to an extent.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or don't like it, which I think we all kind of don't like it, it was never going to take this transformation into this guy that was going to be the lovable teddy bear of a coach. And I'm not saying that Miguel Chavis is like that either. He just does it differently. He obviously connects with his players. Maybe it's just playing like middle ground or riding the fence. I think it's a win-win for both. It's a win for DeMarco to move on. He's going to be able to learn under, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy that you outlined in your story, George. And I think on the flip side of it, Oklahoma can go get out a coach that maybe you needed a little bit of change in that running back room.
I look at it this way: DeMarco was a guy. He came up, he's an old school personality. Like he is, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Work hard, keep your head down, and good things will happen to you. He never was a guy that needed to have his ass kissed, and no one ever did. When he was at Oklahoma, Cale Gundy was his position coach. Cale was a tough coach. He also had Kevin Wilson as the offensive coordinator, a very demanding, tough coach. I mean, you could put him in line with Bill Bedenbaugh. I think DeMarco was still a little too old school for what's happening with players today. Like Brent does that. I mean, he can coach you hard, but he's always had this great ability to love you up after it's over with and to let you know that the reason that he is coaching you so hard is because he wants you to get better.
Isn't a cliche line of that always like he shows that he cares, and that's why he can like chew your ass out to a certain extent. Like, I don't know if you guys were listening to it, but Draymond Green was on PMT this past week talking about his relationship with Tom Izzo. Very, very tight, very strong. And I think it comes up once a year where Tom Izzo goes and doesn't necessarily strike a player, but they always have this conversation of, can Tom Izzo do that in today's world? And I think his argument is yes, he can, because he has this relationship with the players that they know he's coming from a point of, I'm doing this because I love you type of deal.
Yeah.
And I think some of that, like what's been the biggest gripe with DeMarco over the last few years? It's, development that you guys are talking about, or I think it's rotations. Like the rotations, and I'm not saying that's all him. Like I think obviously the offensive coordinator has a large say in that, but like it was clear at times that certain guys were getting snaps over other guys, and I think we also need to be clear that not everyone that DeMarco coached like just hated him. Like there was guys that had very good relationships with him, but you had to have a certain personality to succeed under DeMarco. Right. And I think that, it's important whoever they hire next is maybe a little bit different than that. I don't know. And maybe it's not. I also don't think like we need to put DeMarco to me is not in the same category of a coach as Joe John Finley was. Like Joe John Finley, I think he
couldn't even recruit a player. Yeah.
Right. Like DeMarco at least got some, what we thought was talented players in there, and some of them just didn't pan out. But I don't know. The DeMarco stuff, I think he's a great dude. I think he's actually going to probably, Josh said it on the instant reaction we did, but I think he's going to do better in the NFL than he did in college. And, I still think he was one amazing player for OU. And I don't think it was left on bad terms. Like, I don't think Oklahoma was just like pushing him out the door. And I don't think DeMarco, from what I understand, this was a very emotional decision. Like, I don't think he ever really thought of himself leaving OU.
And guys, to me, is that the good news? Like, you don't have to have this thing that, like, you don't have to have the Josh Heupel situation where, man, it's awkward between one of the great players in the school's history, and it's like this ugly thing, and can it be like it never got that toxic? Like, sure, there are some OU fans that are not upset today, and that's fine. Like, I generally probably agree with that sentiment. Like, I think it can be better. I think Oklahoma can make the right hire, and this can be a better fit for them and where they are and where they want to go. But at the same time, it never got to be where, like, boy, I don't know how DeMarco Murray comes back in 10 years. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not that. It's none of that. So I think that is maybe the best silver lining of all this, because he is. I mean, like, from everything I've ever gathered, he's a guy that legitimately cares about OU. It's not just like, oh, I played here or whatever. Like, it means something.
I think he loves OU. I mean, and we're not trying to say that, he should have been ran out on a rail. We're just complaining about him like we complain about a lot of assistant coaches. I mean,
sure.
And
you got to take out, like, when we talk about these coaches, sometimes you've got to take out that like for me, like, DeMarco was like one of my favorite all-time OU players growing up. And it's like you kind of have to take that out of you when you're thinking of like him as a coach, though, is different. And you have to be critical. And I think that he deserves criticism for, the way that it's gone these last 6 years. It just hasn't been the production that you would want out of your running back room.
I think people like Josh Heupel would probably, if I were a former player at a school, not even Oklahoma, just let's say you played let's say you played at Michigan, and you're an up and coming coach, and they want
who
you
am
to
I
come,
playing for?
And you're
Lloyd Carr or like Sharon Moore. I just want to know about the culture a little bit.
Let's say that you're young up and coming coach, and they wanted you to come be offensive coordinator. Like, going back home in that situation, it's like it's a difficult situation to come out in because people they don't care about what you did for them. OU fans didn't care what Josh Heupel did to win them a national championship when he was the offensive coordinator. They just wanted their team to win, and they saw him as an impediment to them doing that. And so, it didn't end well. We all hated the way that it ended. I think things are better now. But, obviously, even when Tennessee played here, there were some things that came out with, what's his name, the former tight end from
Hammond.
Chris Hammond's.
Chris Hammond, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, all that stuff, like, it's difficult going back and coaching where you played.
Yeah,
especially as an offensive coach.
I also think at the end of the day, from Oklahoma's perspective, it's a really good thing that you've had two coaches leave for very high-profile NFL jobs.
Yeah.
Like, to say, like, hey, Jay Valai went and got a co-defensive coordinator job with the Buffalo Bills, and DeMarco Murray's going to go.
You're able to stomach it a little bit easier.
Yeah, like
kind
the
of
Chiefs,
looks like it's
the
like
Chiefs
they're a promotion.
handpicked him. Like the Chiefs, obviously a great organization over the last few years with one of the best offensive minds in all of football, handpicked DeMarco Murray from your staff. Like that's a selling point to your school if you're Oklahoma.
Well, I also,
not just NFL teams, but like Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
Like those are legit teams.
And I also like it for Brent that he is going out and finding guys that aren't in his tree or, weren't GAs or, I mean, he has some of that and he brought some of that with him, but to see him go out and get a Ben Arbuckle, to see him now, go out and get the Michigan cornerbacks coach and we'll see what happens with the running back position, but I think that's a good thing when you don't just automatically stick to what you know or who you know, and you just go by, okay, we think this is the best candidate. I don't know him that well, but I'll interview him and see if I feel like we're compatible.
I feel like there's people out there that have put Brent in this box of well, he only hires his
Clemson guys or his Dabo.
You look at every assistant he's hired, other than obviously the guys that he brought with him when he first got on staff, but since then, the only hire that he's really made that was for a full-time assistant coaching job that was somebody he was connected to is Zach Alley. Everyone else has been
Seth Luttrell probably too.
Yeah, but that's probably one that everybody picks. But Nate Dreiling, Jason Witten,
Nate
LaMar
Dreiling was
Morgan,
totally off the grid.
Ben Arbuckle, none of these people he had. I mean, I don't know what LaMar Morgan's
he had
connection.
Somewhat of a connection with Dreiling just from his dad, but yeah.
But I mean,
I get what you're saying.
That's a stretch,
right?
It hadn't worked with him, yeah.
Yeah, I this idea that he just hires, people that is connected to the school or connected to him is just not It's just not even close to true.
Also, people don't understand what the word nepotism really means sometimes.
Yeah.
And again, guys, to me, the thing that I also, if I'm Brent Venables, that I like about, like George is right, making these outside hires, it gives you a little more breathing room. Like you went and you made this search, you looked around, you found the guy that you thought was right. If you hire, it was the Seth Luttrell thing. If you hire a guy from within that you're familiar with, that you've seen every day, you've been around, and he fails, to me, that reflects more on you than a guy you went outside for and hired, just because you should know that guy. Like, you should be familiar. Can he do this job? Can he not do this job? There's always going to be a variable with an outside guy. Like that, there's things you just can't foresee. But if you hire from within, you better be damn sure he's the right guy.
Now, I think what happened, did Brent Venables get LASIK after he hired Seth Luttrell? Is that why he's making better hires now, Eddie?
That would have been something. I would have definitely, it would have come across my desk because he probably would have been asking about Enjoy. New year, Sooner fans, and that means new opportunities to get back to the playoff, win championships, and thanks to Enjoy Vision, save $1,000 on LASIK and lens replacement. Contacts readers very last season. It's time to see every play, every highlight, every win with crystal clear vision. Schedule a free consultation today for LASIK or lens replacement at enjoyvision.com. That is the letter NJOY vision.com. And start the new year with a fresh perspective and keep an extra $1,000 in your pocket while you're at it. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sutter Scoop LASIKs.
Also, I want to remind you guys, our good friends at Cody Drug RX, they are want to help you with your New Year's goals. And whether you're looking to drop weight, boost energy, or just feel better heading into 2026, Cody Drug obviously has you covered. They offer multiple custom compounded peptide-based weight loss options, including popular GLP-1 medications. Semaglutide, I think that's he took that off the thing for me because he said I was saying it wrong. I think I've heard people call it semaglutide.
It's not an adrenochrome, is it?
I don't know about that. And performance-focused peptides that help you recover faster, burn fat, and stay sharp. Also, Cody Drug loves teaming up with Oklahoma Med Spas. If that's you, make sure you get in touch with them, as well as longevity clinics, to deliver high-quality peptides quickly, safely, and with top-tier service. That's our own Josh McQuistion that is a client as well. His entire family goes through Cody Drug RX for their prescription needs. So while the Sooners chase the title next season, let's chase those resolutions together. Visit CodyDrugRx.com to learn more, see how you can get started. Cody Drug, personalized medicine built for champions. And also, if you get all your medical information like I do off of Instagram, go check them out at Cody Drug RX. So, the next...
Isn't it crazy that... Sorry to cut you off.
No.
Isn't it crazy? We were talking about this earlier off air, that Bill Beatenbow is the only remaining staff member, at least assistant, coach staff member from Lincoln Riley's staff now left.
It is. It's very crazy.
Well, I think from the overall staff, I think it's Drew Hill and Bill Beatenbow. I think that's all that's left.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and I mean, that were here when Bob was here.
Who else was there?
No, that's what I'm saying. They go all the way back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Bob.
Oh, I thought you because I don't. To me, I think even with Lincoln, that's true.
It's crazy to think that it's been a decade since Bob hasn't been the coach at OU.
Wow.
I don't need to hear stats like that.
But doesn't it feel like yesterday?
Yeah.
Like it kind of feels like yesterday. Sometimes I think back to 2016 or even maybe right after I graduated college, 2010, 2011. I don't know what happened from 2011 to 2018. Kind of blacked out.
It's Baker Mayfield's what happened.
I know. It was good times. There were some bad times, but there was also a lot of really good times.
Yeah, I mean,
how many of those days were you blacked out, Eddie? If you had to guesstimate.
Maybe 35%.
Okay, that's
I feel like that's a pretty relative number.
That was back in the days when Eddie could sneak in a question at the end of press conferences.
I probably still can. We just haven't been in an environment that would lend that opportunity.
I think maybe you could get there with Mateer if it's a really good year this year.
Yeah.
Bring a little levity.
Maybe Brent. We'll see.
No, but I know we did an instant reaction. That's up on YouTube. You could go check that out. We talk about the candidates and things like that to replace DeMarco. I don't know, George, if you want to just go over that real quick and obviously just leave it more in depth for the instant reaction.
Oh, you're talking about the hot board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, and Josh and Eddie, feel free to hop in here because all three of us, I feel like, have heard some different names. The one name that we've all heard is Deshaun Foster, the former UCLA head coach. I think each of us have kind of, heard that name, and I even heard his name like a week ago, kind of being up for like a potentially an analyst position with OU. It would make a lot of sense. He's looking for a job, I think. I think that, he has some mutual interest in the job. I think Oklahoma is obviously interested in him. I think he'd be a pretty good hire. I don't know much about him other than the fact that he was a disaster of a head coach. That doesn't mean he can't coach running backs. I know that he's done that for a long time and obviously played the position at a high level. So he's one guy to keep an eye on. Tashard Choice, I think, would be a home run hire. Obviously, the former Texas running backs coach. He's now with the Lions. I just don't know, would he want to leave the NFL? Most guys are jumping to go to the NFL. Not
I know you guys.
It is
you guys
crazy, like how many coaches from college have made the jump to NFL. I know Jay Valai, obviously, with Oklahoma as well, but like I think that the number is over like 15 right now.
I think it's 20.
Is it 20?
Yeah, it's
crazy to me. And it makes a lot of sense with everything that's going on in the college football world.
And I think for people that don't know the name Tashard Choice, just a little history on him. I mean, he came to Oklahoma, and he was here when Adrian Peterson came.
He was a baller.
He was great.
He just happened to be behind
Adrian Peterson. He was like, look, I'm not going to play behind this guy. He's one of the best running backs of the generation. So he transferred out to Georgia Tech, had a great career. I want to say played, I don't know, 4 or 5 years in the NFL, Josh?
It might have been more than that, Carey.
I think it might have been long. He had a nice
the Cowboys
career. He really
for a
did.
while.
2008 to 2013. So, 6 years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he was a fourth round pick. I mean, he was a good college player.
Sure.
I'd talked to him not I want to say not too long ago, but it's probably been 10 years when he was out. This was before he got into the NFL, and I knew he was working to do that, but I think he was between college jobs. He had a college job, and then staff got let go or something. But he was out at an OU summer camp one year and talked to him for a little bit. But just a really good dude. I mean, he would be a great fit.
Track record after he got done with the Colts in 2013. I'm not sure what he did from 2013 to 2016, but broke into the coaching ranks with the Dallas Cowboys in 2016 as a coaching intern. Ended up going to North Texas as a GA in 17. He was the running backs coach for the Mean Green in 2018. And then he went on to Georgia Tech from 19 to 21, Texas from 22 to 24, and spent last year with the Detroit Lions. I would imagine coaching Jahmyr Gibbs makes you look pretty damn good these days.
By the way, I'll always remember Lovejoy, Georgia is where Tashard Choice is from.
I was just reading that, and I just automatically was thinking, I can't believe he was from Lucas. But yeah, not Lucas Lovejoy, the high school down in the DFW area. Lovejoy High School in Georgia.
Some of the other names, too, that I put on there, and some of them we've heard. Norvell McKenzie, Virginia. He was just hired as the Virginia Tech running backs coach. He was at Georgia Tech since 2023 before he got that job. Tommy Robinson, UTSA running backs job. Tommy Robinson, 62 years old. I don't know if he would be the pick. I feel like they're not going to hire somebody that old, but this guy, his resume is unbelievable. He's been the running backs coach for the Dallas Cowboys, Oklahoma State, Miami, USC, Texas, LSU, Texas A&M. There's even a few schools I left off. So I don't know. That was a name that we kind of heard. Patrick Cobbs, who's at OSU right now, was at North Texas. Stan Drayton, I know a lot of people on the board want him. He was just hired as the South Carolina's head coach. You'll remember him. He was also a disaster of a head coach at Temple, but heck of a running backs coach. Coached running backs, I think, at Ohio State, Penn State, and Texas. So all names that, are big ones. Curtis Looper, that's another one that I know a lot of people. I think Oklahoma should give him a call. He's at Missouri. He's done a heck of a job. He's had some great running backs. Obviously, Ahmad Hardy this past year, but he's done a really good job at Missouri since 2020. So there's definitely a lot of guys out there. Mark Atui, I don't know how to say his name.
I had the pronunciation when we were doing the YouTube show.
Atuaya is what I saw. But that was hey, how do you say this? It wasn't official at all.
He's the Utah running backs coach right now, but he was Washington State's running backs coach for all 3 years with Ben Arbuckle as the offensive coordinator. So if they wanted to go that route and pick somebody that Arbuckle knows, he would make a lot of sense.
It would be interesting. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say real quickly, for those like that are like, oh, Stan Drayton, like, oh, he's been at big schools. Listen to some of the guys he's coached: Bryant Westbrook, Ezekiel Elliott, Bijan Robinson, Matt Forte, and Jordan Howard. Like, that dude has coached some dudes.
There you go. That'll work.
Not a bad resume list of references.
I just don't know. Like, he just got hired by South Carolina. Not to say that rules him out, but like,
sure,
it's one of those things where he's like, okay, do I want to just move again?
And I would say, like, he's probably at a stage of his life where, if you were a 23-year-old coach, would you rather have the South Carolina job or Oklahoma job? In my mind, I feel like it'd be the Oklahoma job.
Yeah.
I don't know if he necessarily needs to move so he can progress his career. If that might sound bad, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, like if it doesn't go well for Beamer in South Carolina this year, like Stan Drayton's gonna get another job after this season.
Sure.
Now, I will say he's only stayed since like 1999, he's only stayed places. Only one time has he stayed somewhere more than 3 years, and that was at Texas. He was at Texas for 5 years.
Yeah.
That is a
well, maybe he'll
interesting way to live. Just moving families all the time like that.
He'll leave South Carolina after a month, maybe. There you go.
It'll be interesting. I think that, I don't know. I feel like this is an important hire, no doubt, but I'm not going to sit here and say that if you hire this guy, it's going to be what a disaster it's going to be. I think that, I don't know, maybe this is probably a personal problem of myself, but being the running backs coach at Oklahoma should be somewhat, I don't want to say easy, but you're going to have a very talented room. You should have a pretty damn good offensive line blocking in front of you this year and for years to come. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they could screw this up. I say that knowing that I was questioning Brent 8 months ago if he could still be the head coach at Oklahoma.
I had a coaching buddy hit me up and it was like, that's a job you've got to screw up. Like, you've got to get that wrong. And I don't mean the hire. I mean, being running backs coach at OU, a lot of it should be built in for you. Just show them all the names, including the guy that just left as the coach. And that again, it's nothing's easy. It's hard. I get all that, but like, when you talk about where, and I went on a rant on the show, so I won't do the whole thing again, but there is, that's a position when you talk to coaches, they're like, we can plug a lot of guys into that spot. So like, I think it's about finding the overall what's best for our entire staff rather than this guy's coach running backs for 30 years. I just don't think that's a requisite like it might be on the offensive line or at quarterback or some of those places where you really can't be as flexible.
All right, let's talk about LaMar Morgan, defensive backs coach that currently is going to become Oklahoma's coach. Was at Michigan last year, of course, with Whittingham taking over at Michigan, blows everybody out, of course. He's going to bring his own he brought his own or did he hire BYU's defensive coordinator, right?
Yes, Jay Hill.
So he'll probably bring in, most of his staff, but not retain, coming to Oklahoma. But, he's coached safeties a little bit. He's coached defensive backs, at places, but mainly cornerbacks. He was a defensive coordinator at Louisiana from 2022 to 23, and then was with Michigan in 24 until last year. But a Vandy guy, I believe.
Yep.
And
no, he went to Louisiana.
Yeah, but he got his start at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
As a GA, yeah.
GA,
and he
was
coached
the
corners
in
eventually.
21.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a guy, Josh, I mean, you mentioned it on the YouTube show, like you watched that secondary and those cornerbacks for Michigan last year. He had those guys right.
Yeah, I am this again. Like I said, this is a guy I've followed for a while. I think he's always had a good eye for talent. He's a good evaluator. He seems to coach his guys well. In what I saw of Michigan last year, I kind of, now that obviously he's been hired, I want to go back and watch more of Michigan and kind of get a better feel for that. But yeah, this is I like this hire, and we talked about it on the show on the instant reaction. Obviously go watch that on YouTube. But I just like him being a unique. He brings something different to the table. He's not familiar with all the same things. He's going to have different ideas, and I think that is just so important. We were talking. I can't remember if it was. They're running together on me now between this and the instant reaction. But to me, that's been the downfall of Dabo, was the inability. Like, it was all Clemson. Like, everything had to be Clemson. There was no new ideas. Nothing came from outside. And the 2 times he did it were Brent Venables and Chad Morris, and they had their greatest run in the history of the program. So I love when you bring in new guys like this that do have experience and have something to offer.
Yeah, so 2 years at Michigan, see, I mean, just, obviously you coach at Michigan, you're going to coach a lot of good defensive players. They put a lot of guys in the NFL, but and as we said, it's great to see Brent kind of just spreading out and going for the best possible candidates. That makes you feel like this is a really good candidate and a really good coach to come in here that Brent had no prior relationship with him and just picked him out of
that we know of. I'm going to guess he'll give us some story of, I met LaMar at this or something.
Coaching convention, and we struck up a friendship.
Somebody told me, hey, you need to give this guy a look.
But George, and I'm sure you heard the same stuff because you and I obviously talked about some of it, but there was a lot of interest in this job. There were good coaches that were very interested in working with Brent Venables. So I think this is definitely not a beggars, can't be choosers. This is Oklahoma. They went and got a guy they wanted.
And look, it's no offense. I mean, they're rising in the coaching ranks, but you go out and you get a Dom Franks from a high school come in and coach. It's like, okay, you're taking a chance. Why take a chance if you're Oklahoma? And I'm sure a lot of fans are justified in feeling that way. Like, you're Oklahoma, go out and get the best possible candidate that you can get. That's got the experience that is going to come in and be more of a surefire thing. And I feel like that's what they got in LaMar Morgan.
Not to mention, he's inheriting a room that's going to be pretty damn talented going into next season. Obviously, got to keep the level of recruitment and retain all the guys in the 2027 class, Josh, that I know that you had caught up with. It certainly seems like everybody's still on board. And same could be said for the running back stuff. I know that we didn't really bring it up, but Oklahoma, obviously the Michael Rhodes situation. We talked about that a little bit more in depth on the YouTube breakdown of the hire, or the departure of DeMarco. But it seems like, and I think that it's one thing that we can fall back on too in talking about Oklahoma from a recruiting standpoint and the culture, that a lot of these guys are signing up to play at Oklahoma, not particularly because of a coach.
I think that's absolutely true, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, where talking to Mikael McCreary, and he loved Jay Valai. It wasn't like this isn't like, oh, I'm happy to see him go. He wished him the best, but his immediate reaction was, I know Brent Venables is going to hire a good guy. Like, I know I'm going to work under someone really smart, and I can't. And he knows LaMar Morgan. There was a relationship there. LaMar had offered him, I think he said back in October, not long before he made his decision, I think is how Mikael said that. And it's clear. It's like, I can't wait to get him on the phone and talk to him and that kind of stuff. So aside from OU fans, I think are going to love the way Mikael McCreary kind of looks at this thing. I think it's pretty clear. And talking to him and even some other some uncommitted guys, I think there is absolutely some relationship. And the nice part of recruiting a guy from a major program, hiring a guy from a major program like Michigan, you get that overlap. They were recruiting similar players, and it's not I don't know who this guy is because he was recruiting, G5 guys.
We think any other changes could happen before spring football starts?
I don't
Not from
think
a
so.
college perspective. Maybe if something were to come up in the NFL, because we're getting to the point now where there's so many other places that have.
Bill Beatenbow he's like the Will Smith meme, just standing in the room all alone
by himself,
looking around like, where'd everybody go?
Now you have Jason Witten in that room. He has to take up a bunch of that room.
Yeah.
By the way, that was interesting news that Cooper Witten's going to stay where he's been.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, asking a kid to move during his senior year of high school, you have friends, you grow up with all those guys. I would imagine you'd want to finish it out.
It'd be tough to leave that locker room and go to another one where you don't know anybody.
My dad did that when he was a senior. He wasn't getting recruited. He wasn't the number one running linebacker in the country, but my grandparents moved down here to Oklahoma City from Illinois, and he stayed up there and lived with his aunt and uncle. Finish out his senior year. Shout out Central Catholic.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's. I think that's probably good. I mean, yeah, there was a lot of buzz about. I know in the high school circles around here about where he could end up, and I think a lot of people were trying. That was the high school stuff. Josh, you know this. Like, one little rumor starts a fire and every mom and pop is, it just spreads like wildfire. It's not even like on message. That's what I love about the high school stuff. It's not on message boards. It's just through the community. And then all of a sudden it becomes Cooper Witten's definitely coming here next year.
I mean, Carey, how many real estate agents showed homes to the Wittens in the last few weeks? I guarantee you it's in the 30s.
Oh, God.
I'm going to start a rumor that Jason Witten's just going to take a helicopter every day up from Argyle.
That would be pretty awesome.
Now, that's the last thing I actually talked to Cooper about was when OU showed up in the chopper, and I tried to make a
fruit and copter.
I tried to make a Predator joke, and I think I was way too old, and he didn't have a clue what I was talking about. So that really dated me badly.
Get to the chopper? Is that what you tried to do?
Yeah, that's what I went for, and I don't think it mattered to him at all. He didn't even give me like a courtesy bullshit laugh.
Okay, so outside of that, I mean, Josh, just overall, wrap it up for us, kind of. What are you keeping your eye on in regards to this DeMarco move, recruiting-wise? I mean, obviously, we talked to Micah Rhodes the other day, and he was all DeMarco Murray, so that obviously adds a massive wrench into his commitment for and it's 2008, but just
2028.
2028. Somebody told me I was going to do that today because I did it this morning on the radio. I'm just off my deathbed, George.
Take me back to 2008, though.
George, I'm just off my
Great
deathbed.
year.
I appreciate
Carey,
once again all the shit.
Once again,
great year.
It has nothing to do with your sickness. This is you have done these things without having the flu.
Sam Bradford won a Heisman Trophy.
Shout out!
Does that do anything for you?
2008 was awesome. It's a great year.
2008, we can see how Jeremy Calhoun and Justin Johnson feel about DeMarco Murray's departure. We can see where they are in their recruiting.
Greatest bowl experience of my lifetime, 2008. Orange Bowl, yeah. Staying at the, it was the Marriott on the Fort Lauderdale. We had showgirls show up for the media dinner and everything. Just booze everywhere.
You just get hammered.
I just remember how much you loved the Florida media.
Oh, no, Dom Franks has some good stories about 2008 Orange Bowl media days. It's when he said that Tim Tebow would be the 5th best passer in the Big 12.
Made some waves.
Oh, there was some Florida beat people that would have killed him if they could have got him alone somewhere.
Shout out Tom Brennan.
Even all this time later, still not sure he's wrong.
He wasn't wrong. I mean, those four. I mean, it was Sam Bradford, Colt McCoy, Graham Harrell,
Chase Daniel.
and Chase Daniel. All better passers than Tim Tebow.
All had longer NFL careers.
Yes.
Fact.
So, anyway. No, back to 2028, Micah Rhodes. I did it there. Josh, go ahead, tell us kind of what you're keeping an eye on with regards to this DeMarco move.
Yeah, with 27, we knew Kelder Ben. I mean, he's picked up a lot of attention, Miami, Oregon, Texas, since his OU commitment. So he was always going to take some visits. I don't know that this changes things a ton because, again, he was a guy that was really found by the front office. That was his initial contact. So I don't think he immediately fades away or anything. I talked to Jackson Stokes last night, and he was – it was very much like, I totally understand, DeMarco doing the best thing for his family. I can't wait to talk to him and, just kind of a farewell type of thing. But he also was like, I'm still committed to Oklahoma. We're going to see what other schools have to say. But it wasn't again, he wasn't like he was riding off OU by any stretch of the imagination. Micah Rhodes, again, and he was very good in his messaging, for a young guy. But you could tell he was a little more flustered about it, just a little more I don't know what this means. I don't know where this leaves me. And it's so early for him. We understand. This guy's midway through his sophomore year of high school. It was crazy early when he committed anyway to forget a coaching change. So if any of the three that I would say, a week from now we may be talking about this kid decommitted, Micah's probably the one I'm watching. And that, again, I don't think it's a deal where he's going to be off OU's board or anything like that. They're still going to chase him, and they're going to try to rebuild that relationship with the new position coach, and that'll be fine. But I do think DeMarco was more than the other two, such a huge piece of his recruitment.
All right, George, something I want to broach with you. You had your mailbag last week, and I know you've been getting some feedback on some of the things that you put in there. And I do always find it interesting because people ask you questions on the board, and you're like, yeah, I just addressed that in the mailbag. So make sure you read George's mailbag each and every week. But one of those being about, some of the players are, in training. They're doing some things. And you had some names that you threw out there, and I know we're getting even more feedback after you published a mailbag that are kind of standouts.
Yeah, there's a handful of guys, and the one guy, and I think Josh has probably heard this too, but one guy that's really, his name's popped up several times, is Jacob Carey, the freshman linebacker. Apparently he is just like testing extremely well to the point that they're like, I think he's obviously going to play special teams for Oklahoma next year, but if you told me he's like somewhat getting in the rotation or getting some snaps in certain packages, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, that's how impressive he's been.
If there was one position that it seemed like Nagy was glowing about at early signing day, it definitely was that linebacker group, because I remember coming in here and talking about him with you, Josh.
And I would say not only Curry, but the other names that I've heard are Jandro, Bo, that is. He's the one that plays linebacker, right? Not Nico. Nico plays safety.
You got it right.
Yeah, it's Bo Jandro, and then Dane Bathurst. They think Dane Bathurst was a steal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And lots of good things about Jonathan Hatton, too?
Yeah, Jonathan Hatton.
Hatton, but Josh, were you the one on Monday that was talking to us about
DeSephon Walker?
DeSephon Walker, it sounds like, turned some heads here early.
That's the vibe I've gotten, is he is a lot better than like even maybe they thought he was.
Yeah, there's a handful of freshmen. Again, it's one of those things like who's standing out in winter workouts. We always get that question on the board. It's like everyone, right? Like you go and ask people inside the like, oh, like the freshmen look great and so, and like, we heard, I remember this time last year, Elijah Thomas was the name that we all kept hearing. It was like, This guy is a freak. Like his test numbers are insane.
And I still believe he is.
Yes, I do. I do too. And,
but yeah.
But it's like we never saw him on the field really.
These guys, they build up a, I don't know, kind of like a life of their own in a way before really doing anything, because of the way that they move during January when, there's not a whole lot going on.
So it's just one of those things. Those are some of the names that I've heard, and I know other people have heard that too. But it is interesting. I think there's going to be a handful of freshmen that end up playing an important role this next year, whether that's on special teams or playing spot minutes in certain spots. Like we've seen it the last few years now. Like Brent Venables is not afraid to, or this staff is not afraid to throw some of these freshmen into the fire. I mean, look at Cortland Guillory last year. I mean, he was phenomenal for Oklahoma. So it's just one of those things where, and it was the same time this time last year, we started hearing Guillory's name a bit during spring ball. Like, hey, this guy is really competing to play. I'm interested to see, who's that going to be, come spring practice here starting in about a month or so.
We talked about, I remember back a couple of months, maybe a month ago or so, we were sitting in the conference room, maybe it's just a few weeks, and we were trying to add up like how many guys would get invited to the combine. And it seemed like at the time we were kind of stuck on like 7 as the max. And I don't think we factored in Owen Heineke. But to have 10 players invited to the combine, I mean, that's a big number for Oklahoma, for anybody really.
It's a big number to celebrate, and it's even more to celebrate when you are coming off of a playoff appearance, because it's like, okay, they went and did something.
I want to say it was like tied for, I saw somebody tweet it was either tied for like 3rd or 4th.
I think maybe 13 was the most.
Yeah, I want to say that's right. But they were like in the same group as like Georgia, LSU, like, schools that, again, that's where you want to be around every year is around 8+, I think is a good spot to be every single year. And it's the most that Brent's had in his tenure at Oklahoma, the most for Oklahoma since 2022, which would have been the 2021 season. So it's great. And I think I'm excited to watch some of these guys like Kendall Daniels. I can't wait to see what he does at the combine. Like, I think he's going to be a freak. I think Deion Burks, I know he didn't have the season that a lot of people wanted him to this last year. I think he's going to test extremely well. That it's going to, teams are going to fall in love with him.
Very fascinated to see what they do with Fabechi as well. Josh, who are some of the guys that you're kind of excited to watch? I would say that you're the resident NFL Combine watcher out of all of us.
Especially offensive linemen.
Yeah, that you're really excited to go see from the Oklahoma side of things.
Yeah. I think George hit it on the head with Kendall Daniels. I'm really interested to see what he looks like in field drills. Like, I know he'll test well. He's going to measure off the charts. Like, he'll do stuff like that. But what does he look like moving around in space when they're doing some of the, the 45-degree turns and stuff? Because that's, with Oklahoma last year, they had that ability with Reggie Powers to kind of take him out of danger sometimes in that situation where he couldn't get isolated, or they'd shuffle him in and out in situations where they thought he might get isolated. So I think that's really interesting. Guys, I think the two, and I know everybody loves to talk about R. Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas is going to go and put on a show. He'll test really, that stuff's going to be fine. I'm more interested in the guys a little down the list to kind of see what, Marvin Jones Jr., I'm a little surprised he got the invite. I think that's a really good sign for him. And secondarily, I want to see what he tests like. I want to see the agility stuff, and I want to see what he lifts. And I again, the lifting usually doesn't matter to me, but the question about him coming in was always what's his work ethic like? What's his rate like? Is he going to do all the stuff he needs to do? But if he comes in and puts 225 up 20-something times, cool, man, question answered. The guy's been doing the work. So I think that's really interesting. And I would say the other one for me, it's got to be Jaron Canick, guys. I want to know, what's he going to work as? Because I know he's been a tight end, and I get that. That may be what he does. But there's a part of me that thinks if Jaron would work as kind of like a big receiver, kind of an X type, I think you could do some different stuff with him. It's kind of unique with his body type. I would be interested to see if maybe he does. I bet he works at tight end, but I want to see that. And if he just goes and weighs 225 pounds and rips like a 4.47 or something, people are going to drool.
But don't you think
they're going to see potential?
Don't you think for teams to see that in him, he's going to need to have some impressive shuttle times too?
I do, and I think he can do that. I never saw there was never anything about his athletic profile that I was like, that's a problem. That's going to hang up on him. I always thought it was just as a linebacker, he always looked like he was guessing a little bit to me. And once he just got to see the ball, catch the ball, run with the ball, he looked like a really good athlete. He looked like one of the better athletes on the field every time he had the ball to me.
Yeah, but if you could see a Josh McDaniels fall in love with a guy like that, if he put up an impressive, shuttle or something. Okay, you can be a slot guy for him.
Absolutely. That's the Patriot model. They love that kind of guy. And I hate saying that.
By the way, how bizarre is it that Trinidad Chambliss didn't get invited? Is there
I think a little bit of that has to do with he's in the court hearing today for his appeal.
Is just why? So I'm confused. I haven't kept up with the Chambliss stuff, but I saw Dellinger put out today that the NCAA denied some new appeal, but he's still in court today doing. So I cannot keep up with what's going on and how he's still able to keep going through all these legal battles.
I'll do you one better. At least you're trying to keep up.
I think it's interesting because it's not that it's obviously none of this is apples to apples, but keeping up with some of it compared to what's going to happen with Heineke, I think is interesting. But
sure,
at the same time,
he can make a case for being, if he went and had a good combine, he could make a case for being the second best quarterback in the draft.
Chambliss, yeah. I don't know.
It's just bizarre. But maybe
by the way,
did he not enter his name? I have so many questions. How does a guy like that not get invited to the combine?
He wasn't invited to the Senior Bowl either, was he?
I don't think so. No.
By the way, Heineke, for those wondering,
maybe he sucks.
Is planning to participate in the combine because, of course, how could you turn it down? But it's kind of like the Senior Bowl. No idea if it will affect his eligibility or the appeal that he's.
There have been so many good players at OU over the years that haven't got combine invites. You cannot turn that down.
Yeah, no. Especially not knowing, if he gets his appeal denied, then, obviously he's going to want to go compete at the combine.
Does it? I mean, I know one of the guys that we were on the fence about when I was going back to us talking in the conference room, a couple weeks ago, like Dominic Williams getting invited. I mean,
That's
to me,
awesome.
that says something about the NFL's interest in him, right?
Yeah, and I think he had a good Shrine Bowl. I think that's what he was at, the Shrine Bowl. I think he had a pretty good showing down there, and I think also
I think all the OU guys had a pretty good Shrine Bowl.
Like Robert
Jaron?
Spears. How about Robert Spears Jennings getting invited?
Yeah.
He was one that I didn't.
We were on the fence on him.
I didn't know if he would get invited. So, both those guys I think are kind of on the fence of are they going to get drafted or not. I could see a team, in the 7th round taking somebody like a Dominic Williams, and I think he can help an NFL team. Just be kind of a, tough guy in the middle. Robert Spears Jennings too. I don't know. I don't know where teams. I think he obviously is playing safety, but where do teams see him fitting in defensively? I think is an interesting question.
Yeah. We're off camera, but Josh, are you trying to highlight your wrist for me or something? I don't notice like a. It's not. I don't see.
What
like
watch
a
is that, Josh?
Really good watch there, like what I'm looking at. It doesn't strike me as like, oh, I know that watch. It looks like it might be just a cheapo.
No, it's a nice watch. It was a gift from Tiffany. I got a
When
tag
did this
for
happen?
Christmas. I got it for Christmas.
What is it?
Again,
what is it?
It's just a Carrera. It's a
it's a Tag Heuer.
Yep. So
You son of a bitch! You have a real watch now.
I tried to get her to buy me whiskey, and she's like, "I don't want to buy you any more whiskey. You've got enough whiskey." And so she decided I needed a
Tiffany
nice watch.
a thank you note. Is this because of the watch thread on the board? It's gotten so out of control.
It is. The problem is, I was always like, "Oh, the watches are stupid. It's dumb." And now I'm like reading that thread. I find myself looking at watches and shit.
Dude, I went through this same.
Never happened.
I went through the same thing. I
we
was
need
looking
to
at
start
it
a
too much.
Scoop watch club. I think
We got a whole thread. It's a deep.
I mean,
thread.
the people that buy watches on there, like stuff that I could never dream of affording. I mean, soup stains out there. I mean, some guy's flashing his Vacheron 222, and I mean, it's just insane.
That watch is as crazy as I think it is, right? Like I looked it up, I was like, "Holy shit!"
You
like,
would not. That's a
kind of blew my mind.
37 millimeter watch, though. It would not fit your body. It would look like a little pea on your wrist.
I see that stuff all the time, and that's the biggest thing I have learned I have to pay attention to is the diameter, because I'm like, there is some stuff that I would just look ridiculous on me.
Give me a flash. Let me see. Get it up close to the camera. Chronograph?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wait. No, I can't see it. You're not in the middle.
Hang on. Let me.
Oh, yeah.
Just take
it off.
I'll just take it off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a good looking watch.
Yeah. We went looking and just we actually found it on a sale, so that was the only reason I was like, okay, fine. But because the actual sticker price was jarring, I couldn't do that.
Just for meeting notes, are we going to cut this from the podcast?
No. And you know what? Who's never getting a watch from me now after all the shit he's been giving me? I
already got one. I'm good.
And he got his. Yeah,
He's talking about me.
I got it.
Yeah, George has never.
That's fine. I'll take the new studio. That'd be awesome.
I'm editing. By the way, I'm editing your mailbag because I saw your little snide comment about the studio.
That's fine. Edit. I mean, it was 5 days ago.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was dying 5 days ago.
4 days ago.
I didn't know if I would be on this earth much longer 5 days ago. All right. Outside of that, I mean, we're waiting till spring football starts. We're living and dying with the OU women, George. I mean,
it's a tough watch sometimes, man. And I think that look, here's the thing.
I want to love this team.
Yeah, and I think they are a good team. But, boy, when they play the next level or try to get over that hump of being a great team, and we've seen them do it. We've seen them play well against a great team in South Carolina. But they do some stuff that
when Verholtz goes silent, they have no shot.
Well, or Chavez. I mean, Chavez was 0 for 11 against Vanderbilt from 3.
Yeah,
I mean, you just can't do that. Yeah. And that's not to say I think she's a great player, but like when one of them does that, it's just hard. And they play at this and I get it. And I hate to be like critical of the way that they're playing offense because it's a big reason why they win basketball games. But there's certain times that it feels like they do this up and they try to go up and down. And it's like, man, when you get down 8 points and you're not making shots,
and you're turning
all of a
it
sudden
over.
those 8 points turn into 20,
Yeah.
and you're down 20, and it's over. Like you've got no shot of coming back. So
They've had some really weird games, here over the last couple of weeks. Texas and Vanderbilt kind of exclusive. LSU, they kind of got their ass kicked throughout. But
it is one
it's
thing. Like their losses have come
they're
against top 5 teams.
That's the thing. It's like it's hard to be critical of them,
Right.
knowing that so they still like a top 16 type team that should be able to host a first and second round and get to a second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Should we expect? And can they beat some of these upper echelon teams? Yeah, they can.
But I think
things are going to have to go really, really right.
Right, and I think that's kind of the frustrating part is like everybody knows they're a good team, but I think everybody wants them to take that next step, be a great team. And I think even Jenny would tell you that. She's waiting for this group to get to that next point and elevate the program. I just don't know if they feel a little too young to do it. And the style of play, can you win at the highest level playing that way? I don't know, It's
no. The answer is no.
Yeah, and especially if you're turning the ball over at the clip they are.
Unless you have extremely, extremely talented, high recruit type players. I think that's in my amateur eye, I think that's the difference between the UConns and the Texases of the world.
But I watched Vanderbilt, and I didn't think they had obviously Michaela Blakes, who's just fantastic, and then the little point guard,
the Galvin girl, had a really good night.
Other than that, I'm not looking at there and being it wasn't like watching OU against Texas, where it's Texas had 10 girls that you're just holy crap.
It is watching a team that has a ton of potential. Whether it's Chavez or Stewart or whoever. They're just not there yet.
Yeah, and I think that,
but they're gonna be. They have a lot of players that are gonna be really good.
And at the end of the day, I think OU can beat Vanderbilt, but you're not going to beat anybody if you shoot 8% from 3-point.
No.
That's the thing is I think that OU has the horses to beat a Vanderbilt. I don't know if they have the horses to beat Texas necessarily, but I think they can beat Vanderbilt, but you can't shoot 8% from 3. If you shoot 30% from 3 in that game, it's a close game.
Unlike that Texas game you mentioned, they came out and they were just intimidated in the first half.
Yeah.
Texas was all over them defensively, and then they handled it so much better in the second half, and they actually made a game of it. And you're like, okay, this team can actually play with really good teams, but they can't. They haven't been able to do it for 4 quarters.
Yeah, and they should beat Florida. They play Florida tonight. They should beat Florida at home.
They have an opportunity on the way
they've been off
into
for a week, right?
the SEC tournament to really collect some wins. Don't
they need to, because if they want to host, they're right now their quad 1 record I think is 2-6. And it's largely because they keep facing
the good news is
the quad 1 losses are against the best
the top
teams
5 teams in the country.
Right. So they need to go on a run here and win some of these games. They should beat Florida. They play at Alabama, which Alabama's ranked, but they should win that game. At Georgia, who's having a better year, but they should win that game. Tennessee at home. Tennessee's not playing well right now. They should beat Tennessee, who's also ranked. They're 22nd. And then Arkansas and Missouri. They should probably win out. They probably won't, but they probably should.
I'm sorry I didn't bring this up earlier, but we do have to address this. George, is there anything to worry about with this mayor stuff in Norman and Stillwater? Not worry, but is anything going to come out of this?
I
give a little bit of background too, in case you don't know.
Yeah. So
the mayor of Norman, the mayor of Stillwater came together and they made I don't know what
they proposed a bill,
resolution, right? a legislative bill that they're co-authoring together. That has to be sponsored by someone in Congress or the legislature. But it is that Bedlam must be played every year, between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. They have to bring it back for football,
right?
They're saying it's for the city's economies that are hurting because they don't have that game anymore, and that they want to have these teams play. They sponsored a bill.
Yeah, and look, I think that when I first saw it, I just kind of rolled my eyes a little bit because, look, I'm for Bedlam. It being gone sucks, but I was also telling Eddie this too. I enjoy, Oklahoma going and playing other schools in the non-conference because we get to go to Ann Arbor next year or, Nebraska in a few years in that series. And I know the fans are fired up about that, or Clemson and, the 2030s, all that stuff. But I don't think these government people, the mayors or whatever, realize like the cost it would take to, like, let's say they pass this and the state forces OU and OSU to, implement having Bedlam every single year. That means OU is going to have to cancel, and OSU going to have to cancel their other non-conference games, or at least one of their non-conference games. And the point that the Norman mayor brought up was like, well, OU plays UTEP in New Mexico next year. Wouldn't it be better if they played OSU? Newsflash, OU's not going, like, if they have to play Bedlam next year, they're not going to cancel that game. They're going to cancel the Michigan game. They're not going to, because Brent Venables and the OU program is not going to sign up to play 11 Power 4 conference games next year. They just added a 9th SEC game. They got to go on the road to a premier program like Michigan. So you're talking about having to cancel that game, sign up for an 11th Power 4 game. And I know a lot of people out there be like, oh, well, OSU is not very good, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, they're not going to want to do that. And on top of that, you're talking about canceling a decade for both schools, a decade of
guaranteed
games.
contracted games.
You're talking about millions and millions of dollars that it would cost these universities to buy out of these games. And so, like, does OU want to play Bedlam again someday? Yes, they do. But, like, you're going to have to wait because the buyouts are just too large. And, like, I think Oklahoma could pay that money, but they don't want to. They don't want to spend, however much it would cost to buy out all these, major programs, because that's what it would be. It would be canceling. It wouldn't be canceling the UTEP and New Mexico games of the world. It'd be canceling the future games against Nebraska, Clemson, SMU, which is now going to Jerry World, Houston in a few years. Like, you're talking about the bigger games that they would have to cancel because the program doesn't want to have to play 11 games against Power 4 opponents. So I don't think that these people that want this to happen realize the consequences of it. And I can tell you, too, I think from OSU's side, they certainly don't want to have to pay the millions and millions of dollars that it would cost to get out of these, non-conference games.
Oregon and
yeah, like it's kind of ridiculous, and I understand that people want Bedlam back, but also I think from Oklahoma's perspective, the economic boom that they're talking about,
it's already happened with joining the SEC.
Yes, it's already happened, and I would probably tell you that they've made more money bringing Michigan to town than they ever did with Oklahoma State coming to town.
And the businesses and the hotels.
Now,
and
I
everything.
think from Oklahoma State's perspective, yeah, certainly like having Oklahoma back coming to Stillwater every single year would be really big. But I think from Oklahoma's point of view, like they're already scheduling really big non-conference games that are bringing massive, massive fan bases like Michigan or Nebraska or Clemson or whoever to town versus in Oklahoma State. So I think that OU would love to have Bedlam back someday. I don't know if it's ever going to be like a yearly thing, but if the local government, like I do think that there's like people inside the local government, not just the mayors for Norman and Stillwater, but like people at the higher legislator in the state of Oklahoma that are going to try and push this thing through. And if it does, I think it's going to ultimately end up costing these schools millions of dollars to have to buy out these contracts.
Yeah, I mean, love the city of Norman. Obviously, it's my home, been my home pretty much, I think, longer than anywhere else that I've lived. But when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's just political pandering. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
It's a PR stunt to a degree,
It's not based in reality if you've researched any kind of like.
Now, if they want to come out and say, okay, after 2035, you have to play it every single year. Yeah. That's different. Yeah, it's totally different. But if you're trying to enforce this like immediately, it would be a lot for the universities to have to pay that amount of money. It wouldn't be a lot to like, you can cancel it, but one, you're going to piss off other schools by having to cancel the games because those schools are making money too. And then you're going to have to pay whatever the cost is, which is a lot of money. Like, I don't think people realize how much these games cost to put into contract.
Should also make note that I guess SMU made the announcement, but the 2027 trip down to Dallas will not be in Highland Park. It will be played over in Jerry World. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
I think it is too. I saw some OU fans complaining, and I get like you want to play on other teams' campuses and stuff and such, but in this scenario,
I feel like this is a different scenario than moving. Like I would be pissed if Michigan announced that they're moving to Ford Field.
Yeah,
that's a different combination than Dallas is like going back down to your own
By
backyard.
the way, Gerald J. Ford Stadium capacity 32,000.
and not known for its
No,
atmosphere.
it's
a lovely stadium.
It's a great brand new stadium, but it's tiny.
And think of how many OU fans are now going to get to go to the game.
Yeah, sure. If you're an OU fan, you should not be complaining.
No, I think it's
you
a
wouldn't have
great
gotten a ticket otherwise.
I think it's a great thing.
There's a real chance that's Laney and Layla's first ever OU game. That works out really well.
So
also, not to mention,
you don't want to go to any of the playoff games or national championship next year? They don't want to go to Vegas?
I will not be paying for my 8-year-old to go to the national championship game. That will not be happening. So
only for Disney.
I may well go to Ann Arbor next year. That is getting real consideration.
Interesting. I think it's interesting.
I think my family's going to Ann Arbor. Also, from
parents are going.
SMU's perspective, like you're going to make a shitload of money from playing at Jerry World.
I think it's also interesting, just in comparison, that Josh won't take his kids to Vegas, but Howard Lutnick will take his kids to eat lunch with Jeffrey Epstein. It's just kind of interesting, the parenting polarities.
I was waiting
there.
for the Epstein
There we go.
joke.
It's your Epstein of the day from Eddie Radosevich. Eddie, you're going to be skipping out on hoops this weekend because you're going to be down in Arlington.
Going on a
out
date with
baseball.
Pam Bondi on Friday night. No, it's I'm excited. Can't believe that college baseball is already here. Obviously Oklahoma's going to be playing in another familiar environment and talking about Globe Life Field over the weekend. Texas Tech tomorrow morning at 11 a.m., Bedlam on Saturday afternoon, and then TCU on Sunday night. So kind of excited to see where this thing's at. We've had Skip on a couple times. We talked to him on Media Day last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago. I think he's really excited about this group. I think that he likes what they did in the transfer portal and bringing in a number of guys that are going to be able to help and contribute from day one, kind of mix them in with guys that have been around the program for a long time, whether it be Jackson Willits or, Kyle Branch feels like he's been here even though he's only been there for a year. It feels like he's been around for a long time. Jason Walk, Trey Gamble back from last year. They're really excited about Camden Johnson, the third baseman from Wichita State, who it kind of took me by surprise. Talked about how athletic he was. Skip has kind of compared him from a speed perspective to John Spikerman, who a lot of people I'm sure are familiar with. Not a center fielder. He's third baseman.
Safe.
Spikerman's safe up in Omaha.
Yep.
And then, Dayton Taki's back. They're really high on the freshman class that they have coming in. Skip said it at the media day. In 35 years, he thinks this is the best freshman group he's had, led by Alec Blair, who certainly is going to play a lot out in the outfield for Oklahoma. The kid that came in and played basketball for a couple of weeks before deciding to focus on baseball. I think the baseball idea is probably in his best future. Possible first-round draft pick when it's all said and done in Norman. Then you have Drew Dickerson back from last year, obviously. Like their strength is the speed and athleticism and depth in the outfield. And then, I'm really excited to see Cam Johnson tomorrow. I mean, you talk about a guy that when Skip talks about him, you would think that he's talking about the Cade Hortons of the world or the Cade Cavallis, guys that have been extremely, extremely good. OU's having to rebolster that entire weekend rotation. Fourth time under Skip Johnson that the entire weekend rotation got drafted in the first 4 rounds of the Major League Baseball draft. So kind of exciting. It's going to be interesting. I did talk to Skip this morning, and, like a lot of people around here, like you went through, Carey, they're going through a little bit of the flu bug to start the season. So, I don't get the feeling that it's anything just terribly drastic, but
they're not 50-year-old men, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's not the best situation going into the opening weekend. And Mark Etheridge from D1 Baseball made note of it. 39 of Oklahoma's 54 regular season games are currently against teams that are projected to be in the NCAA tournament. So it's a tough schedule. Don't get me wrong. And, the preseason SEC poll had them at 14th. I think they're going to finish higher than that. And it all kind of comes in with context, too. Like, you finish in the top 8 in the SEC, you're probably going to be in line to host a regional. So, very excited for the start of baseball season. It was kind of good to get our toes dipped into the water to watch a little softball over the weekend. Pretty tight game on Sunday, but the 13-0 win was a nice rebound after losing it on Friday night last week with the meltdown that they had in the 6th inning. You just don't see that very often from Patty's group. And, of course, we are thinking and thoughts and prayers with Jen Rocha and her family right now as she takes a kind of a sidestep from the softball world. So Diamond Sports off and running. By the way,
will you go down and say hello to the Norman mayor if he's there for Bedlam on Saturday?
Yeah, sure.
Is he going?
I don't think will be, but
He must not care that much about Bedlam.
oh yeah, for Bedlam baseball.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard. I didn't know where you were going with that. I thought that was a weed joke.
You'll
to be
probably
honest
find him
with
at
you.
the deli.
Yeah, you probably will find him at the deli.
We better have his ass down there in Arlington watching Bedlam if
I'm
he cares
excited
as much about it.
I'm excited about the baseball stuff, obviously going down there, but also in talking about spring sports, want to shout out Chris Gotterup. Comes back and wins the Waste Management last weekend, his second win in 4 starts, and he has birdied 6 of his first 7 holes today at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. So
I'm sure our buddy Chance Cosby didn't mind Sooner winning
did
it.
you see Chance last night?
No, I
he
didn't.
was sitting courtside at the basketball game.
Really?
At the Thunder game against the Suns.
Didn't know he's rolling.
Somebody took a picture of him and sent it to me on
Influencer
Twitter.
money is paying off.
No doubt about it. So, yeah, it's been a hell of a run so far for Chris Gotterup. He's going to go into the Masters as one of the, depending on how many more wins he can rack up in between now and the middle of April, I think he's going to be one of the high favorites or, kind of sexy picks to compete in the Masters, place he's never played before. And I will go down and cover that if we need somebody to go.
I'm sure that you will. All right. I think that's
Spring
good.
game, April 18th.
April 18th.
Week after the Masters, you can already tell this Roger Denny guy, he gets it.
And you don't have the spring portal to fall back on as
It is
an
weird
excuse now.
It is
as
weird
to
that
why.
there isn't any portal stuff like during the spring. It's going to be interesting.
Well, it won't be interesting because there's be nothing going on.
That is a fact. So it will not be
Why do
interesting.
we have
Yes,
to
it'll
fight?
be interesting that
it'll
it's
be
not
interesting that
interesting.
it's not interesting.
Correct.
All right. You guys can go now sit in your new comfy chairs and fight with each other in
Let's
the conference
go.
room. All right, Josh, appreciate it. Congratulations on the new watch as well. That makes me very happy.
Happy Valentine's Day to Tiffany and Erin and Brittany.
Is that coming up? Is that coming soon? Okay, I
I've
should
been
probably do
told.
something about that.
Now, Josh, are you one of the guys that some of my friends were like, "Oh yeah, we're doing Valentine's Day a couple days before actual Valentine's Day." Now, am I just a young,
I think it's different
newly
this year
married-
because it's Sunday.
Well,
I'm
Saturday.
single though.
Saturday.
Or that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Next year it's on Super Bowl Sunday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. So we will be doing it early. But is that just like I'm just a newlywed, and so I'm just naive to doing this on actual Valentine's Day?
No, I mean, definitely it was more of a, go out to dinner, dress up, the whole thing when we were a little younger. But now, some years we still do, but this year Tiffany has gotten to that point of, and I think we all do this when we hit a certain age, like, well, it's kind of amateur hour. We don't want to go out and be out on the roads and doing some of that stuff. And, so I think that is more of what it is for us than like the day of or what day we're going to do anything. And plus we just took a trip and a vacation, like all that stuff. So we're just not going that crazy this year, but there are plenty of years where we do go out on the night itself. The thing I hate about it, and maybe some restaurateurs out there can back me up on this or explain why this always has to happen. Like the chosen menu, when you go to like your favorite restaurant, and they're like, we're serving these 3 things, and none of them are from the normal menu. None of it is like what I want to eat or what I plan to eat when I went there. And it's like just random stuff. And I'm sure it's all good, but it's like, man, I came here to eat this. Like I want to eat that, not something you picked out just for this one night. And that always ends up annoying me.
That is annoying. Yeah, we're going to Mott, the new Kevin Lee restaurant.
It's gonna be good.
I know.
I can
Which
guarantee
I'm sure
you it's
will be
gonna
great.
good.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
Had to pull some strings
Yeah.
to get him in, but I mean,
Eddie-
my
Eddie
God, we
did-
got him in.
Eddie helped me out there getting me in because it was. I mean, to get reservations.
They've been, and it's a little bit unusual even for like Valentine's
will be
Day.
eating in the
they've been-
bathroom, but-
I was
they've
about to
been-
say, it's-
they've been busy. They're booked until like
Oh, I know.
April.
It's crazy. I was looking at Mott, but like it wasn't just Mott. Like I was looking at some other
well,
restaurants.
it doesn't help that it's a
Valentine's
Saturday night.
Day, Saturday night, and I'm talking like I was looking like over a month ago to get reservations
tip
at certain
well.
places. So I'm not going to
Those
tip
those
well. I mean,
those
come
people
on,
those
Carey.
people are getting. It's a good job, I think, over there from what I've heard,
I bet.
and a lot of places in Oklahoma City.
I can't wait though. I think it's going to be really good.
By the way, I think I'd be remiss every time that we have stepped in front of these microphones during the Unofficial 40 over the last decade. the athletic director at the University of Oklahoma has been Joe Castiglione. And the next time that we do the Unofficial 40, that will no longer be the case. So
It's crazy.
we would like to send our heartiest thanks to Joe Castiglione for the just the way that he has always treated us and the respect that he has treated us with. And I know he has always been someone that when he can tell us something, he'll tell us something, and he's never been afraid to add context or background to things. And over the years, I know even before George got here, he would tell me things that were very sensitive that would make for good stories that he might not tell other people. So he's always been really good to Soonerscoop.com. And he's done, on top of that, he's just done a fantastic job as athletic director at the University of Oklahoma. It's a little bit of sadness that, it gets a little sadder every time one of these guys has these retirement press conferences, starting with Bob Stoops, and Joe Castiglione was certainly one of them as well. But just congratulations on a job well done, Joe Castiglione. You leave this place in just amazing shape. And the football program seems to be headed up, but other than the basketball stuff, everything else that you've put your hands on has flourished, and we appreciate everything that you've been to us and everything that you've done for us, and best of luck in your next endeavors.
Maybe we should hire him. I'm sure some people on the board would love that.
Somehow that would be nepotism to some people on the board. But no, and it's been great.
It would be kind of fun if we hired him and then he
just dished on everything.
He just shitting on people. He comes in here, they gotta fire whoever.
That'd be great.
Tell us how you really feel about the way things have gone for Porter. So yeah, it's going to be a different world.
Just
but
he's the man.
Looking forward to the Roger Denny era as well, and know a lot of people care a lot about Oklahoma and Oklahoma athletics, and I know Joe will continue to support in however he can do it. So thanks, Joe, for everything that you've done, and it'll be a different world without you, and we'll stay in touch, though, for sure. All right, that's going to do it. We'll see you guys again here next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.